I found last week or last month that it was the sharing of my personal experience that made it valid for several other people. And so I step out once again and have to share with you how I have come to my understanding and how from that understanding it has grown and been proven over and over again for me and the clients that I work with. Back in 2001, I was working for a government agency and I had very good health insurance, and so I had a mammogram. And of course, that was a big thing for me to go and have a mammogram. So I had it. Thinking there was nothing wrong, I just ignored it. I get a phone call back, come and see us again. So I go back in and have more pictures done and more pictures done and more pictures done. And I was becoming concerned, like, this is not a good deal here. I remember when the radiologist called me into his office, and I saw him standing in front of me was a light box with, and I had had one other mammogram 4 years prior, and there was nothing on that mammogram. It was just clear. On the light box was the old mammogram with nothing on it. And then there was the new one. I stood there and looked. It looked like a meteor. These dots and dashes and these things on this film, it was as though a meteor had exploded in my breast. And I was like in shock. Whoa. It was very interesting because the doctor was, at that point, was carrying on a conversation on the side, and I was definitely not in the space to listen to it. What was happening within me was I was looking at that mammogram, and I was looking at all of the signs on this, and internally, there was something internally telling me I could put a name, a face, an emotion, an experience. It was like this reversal, fast reversing of my life. And every major experience and little tiny minor experiences were on that film. I was going, oh my gosh, I created this. And this little voice feeling deep inside of me went, you created it, you can uncreate it. And it was like I was in this other realm for I don't know how long, it's like this, 30 seconds. I don't know how long it was, but it was very profound. And of course I come out and the doctors, they were talking, and I said, what would you do? And he said, all right, go and have a biopsy. Okay, well, all right, I'll do this. Because I was leaving the country, so I thought, okay, I'm going to do this, do the right thing. So I did. Long story, real short. Had the biopsy, came back positive. Went, oh no, I'm not accepting this. But in the meantime, I had been doing an awful lot of energy work, a lot of Reiki, a lot of work on my internal self, energetic self. So that was set up, it came back positive. Set up another one to go back and do more research, more searching. Funny thing happened. That second one I was supposed to go to, got there and they couldn't find the records. Had to come back another day, put it off another week. I did some more work. Went in, had the work done, and I remember lying there in this room with this doctor and the technician, and they were looking at the computer screen and the probe hooked to me up, and they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for about 20 minutes, in and out of the room and looking and checking the old one and then checking the new one. And then eventually the doctor said, I guess we can't biopsy something we can't see. And I was just like, I don't believe this. But I did. I knew what had happened because somewhere about a week prior, something clicked inside of me deep in the night. I cannot tell you what it was. I just know it was a feeling, and I can still remember it today. At the end, just before I left, I said to the technician, does this happen very often? And she smiled, and she said, it happens a little bit. She says, but I know it's true. I know. And so I looked at the screen. I looked at what they had been looking at, and you couldn't see, or they were trying to see what they couldn't see from the first one. If that was my introduction to the power of personally experiencing the power of energetic healing and how I had created what it was, even though it came from years back, from my tiny childhood, from maybe even a past life, if you want to go in that direction. But I had created these energetic seeds that had sat there. And then because the timing in that past 4 years had been emotionally and mentally very difficult for me, it was a movement and change in my life. Because of that, something had triggered to manifest. How? Don't know. But I just know that it was like the energy had, I was not facing things, and so it was like the seed manifest into a little hard seed, and then it got bigger and bigger. And this is how I started to learn how we manifest physical disease. It starts from way out here in the physical thought, emotions that we pull into us. And if we don't do something with those emotions, if we don't focus on them and say, this relationship is not healthy for me, this food is not healthy for me, this job is not healthy for me, this is not following my heart, this here, the heart and that intuition that is connected, that connects us to that divine source of our soul's life, those are the three pieces that are so intricately connected. And then you connect it with the breath, which is the breath of life. I share this story because I'm sure there's some of you are out there that may already have a knowing of what I talk about. There is a pathway when you have a manifest something, and it starts out here, and you manifest it from the thought into an emotional piece, and we don't listen to our emotions. We deny our emotions. We say, oh no, they're not real. Those feelings are not to be trusted, when absolutely they should be trusted. So we ignore that. People say, oh no, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. That's not right. And then we ignore the mental anguish, that we beat ourselves up. We allow other people to control us. We allow that ourselves to be diminished in all different ways. Low self-esteem. We allow ourselves to be abused, to be that victim. That too plays those roles in that manifesting of those seeds a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. To eventually something manifests, it shows up. Now, and then it's how it shows up, when it shows up, and then what we do with it when it shows up. If we ignore it, if we deny it. And I will say, when I've worked with people, it is really amazing that when that trigger is opened, even though on a conscious level the client or the person will deny it, there's an energy change in their body that they cannot deny. Muscle testing is a really good modality. Kinesiology, holographic repatterning, and muscle testing. They are a communication form that physically we do to the body to access the internal literally knowing of the body, and you can't, it's beyond the consciousness, so it can't be denied. Your body changes, gives the answer. When somebody physically releases something, acknowledges something, I can see energetically, and sometimes very physically, the person can see it, that they have released, they have acknowledged that piece, and it sort of melts away. There's different feelings in the body that you have when things melt. They trigger. Some of you might even be feeling like you've got a waterfall inside your body right now. Just me speaking, coming through this camera. It can have an effect if the time is right for you to find that space and have that aha moment.